the Canon A-1. This thing is just an absolute beauty. It's a massive innovation for the SLR market when it was released. So let's run down through it really quickly because there are a lot of different features in this thing. So first and foremost, we have right there, we have the lock, the auto, and then down here there's 2 and 10. This 2 is a 2-second timer. You'll see that the LED flashes very rapidly for 2 seconds. And then for 10 seconds, it's a little slower. And then it'll speed up at the end. And that way it gives you a good indication of what you're firing. So you're thinking, why would I want a 2-second timer? Well, say you're doing like a long exposure or something, and you don't want your sausages to mess up the camera. So quickly set it at 2 seconds. And you're good to go. So that brings us to the shutter speeds, because there are many options with this. I have it on 15 seconds right now because I figured I would talk through this portion. That dial right there operates that little wheel. So very convenient little thing, and it has this really nifty little notch. So that way, if you have it set at a shutter speed, you won't accidentally start moving it around. But anyway, we go all the way up to 1,000, and then all the way down to 30-second exposure. And then obviously there's a bulb option, and then up at the top here, there's a shutter speed priority mode there. But say you don't want to do that. You want to shoot aperture priority. So what you do is you set it over here, and you can select whatever aperture you want to be shooting at. Goes all the way down to 1.4 there, as you can see, kind of, and then all the way up. And the thing I enjoy most about this is the difference in color there. Just, it's a very neat little thing, like a little detail. And I think that they really nailed the attention to detail on the Canon A-1. Given that there are so many different functions and so many different ways to operate this camera, it's kind of easy to get lost in it, but it seems like everything that was designed was to make the most sense. Under here, under the advanced lever, is a little thing. Click that in, and you can do double exposures that way. And then underneath the lever there is your frame counter. A little battery check light over here. Hit this, and you'll see the frequency at which it blinks is how fresh the battery is. So the faster the blink, the better the battery. The slower, probably put a new battery in. This is the light meter switch as well. So for whatever reason you don't want to shoot with the light meter, turn that off, and no light meter when you depress the button slightly. Over here you have the ASA dial and the exposure compensation level. So quickly for that, there's a little button here, and you focus. Press on that, and then are able to move this freely. And then over here, there's a little notch there. You lift on that, and you can change it to whatever ASA you need. Also, this is where if you had the data back on here, you could plug that in there, and get your readouts on the film that you shoot. If you push in on this, that shoots, I believe, off aperture priority. So I have it set at 60, right? That's a lot slower than 60. So I'll set it at 2 there. A lot faster than that. So that will change based upon what lens you have on there and all of that. And the other thing to note there is that it has this little input there. So however much this is depressed, is the indication of the aperture amount of the lens that you put on. So that way it can calculate correctly in the light meter the minimum aperture. So I think that's a very cool thing. But right now, as it stands, it registers the minimum aperture at 5.6. So that is like the base, and then if you add one on that's like the 51.8, then it will go down to 1.8 as the lowest aperture. Talk about the viewfinder real quick. It has this very nice little block there, and just this little switch there, closes that up. So that way if you are doing any like, you know, longer exposures, you don't have to worry about light leaks through the viewfinder, and just kind of keeps it clean. You can also mess with people, you know, hey, go shoot with my camera real quick. Oh, I can't see through it. What, did you break it? Buy me a new one. That's how you get a new camera from your friends. And if you look through the viewfinder, which this can be hard to do, but we're gonna manage somehow. There you go. So you can see, maybe, this will focus. You can see the LED readout out there. And you can see the blinking. Anyway, that's one of the things that makes this the coolest, is it gives you the two different numbers, which will be shutter speed and aperture levels, values there. It has the dumbest battery door design, and if you pick one of these up off the internet, like used or whatever from a non-reputable seller, the battery door is probably going to be broken, but it has this little screw here, so you can just screw on a grip. Those are easy enough to come by. This is a, it's like a plastic metal mold mix. So any of these kind of scuffs and stuff, they don't buff out at all, and they're hard to paint over because you can't do any kind of priming. It has this really nice reflective coating on it. It has 4 contacts down here if you have a auto winder, and obviously there's a little cover here, but you unscrew that, connect the auto winder to it. This is your little film rewind deal. So that's basically that. Now we open up the camera, just like any other camera. And here we go. We have a cloth curtain here. We have just a sprocket there. And it's easy enough to operate. It's just like any other thing. You take your roll of film. This is my, as I've clearly marked it, test roll. Put it in there. Just like that. Cool. Okay. Oh, I've shot my roll. Let me open it up, push on this, down here, lift this little deal up, and then start the rewind process. Obviously, if you're doing this, you know, you're not going to have the back open, but for demonstration purposes, that's how it kind of works. Easy enough. And then also, if you notice on the back here, there is the denotation that this is a Canon A-1. I think that's a really nice little feature, just something to kind of set it apart. It has this nice little folder, so you can put whatever film you're shooting in there. You know, say you're shooting some Delta 3200, just slide that right in. So, you know, keep for reference and stuff. I think it's a very good beginner camera because it has enough automatic settings to make it easy enough to use without having to understand the principles of photography. But then it also gives you enough tools that you can grow into it as well, and you can continue to use it in a more professional manner. So that is the Canon A-1. It's a really great little machine. Yeah.